Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Guide Talk. We are excited to be continuing our educational series this month with the focus on sponsorships. My name is Tweevy, and joining me today are Jack and Gulnar. If you've joined our Guide Talk series before, hello, it's me again. Welcome to those of you joining us for the first time. If you have questions at any point during this presentation, please leave a comment in the chat box below, and then we'll address it at the end during our Q&A. We'll begin with a quick round of introductions. As I mentioned, my name is Tweevy and I am head of marketing at Guidebook. I'm excited to talk to you today about opportunities to drive value for both you and your sponsors and attendees. And I'll quickly turn this over to Jack and Gulnar to introduce themselves, and then we'll go over today's agenda afterwards. Jack?
Hey everyone, I'm Jack. I am the manager of client success here at Guidebook, based in our London office. I'm excited to talk through some options with sponsorship today, and I'm also going to be answering your questions at the end. So please get them in on the chat, and then we can hopefully address those towards the end.
Hi there, my name is Gulnar Carr, and I am the Associate Business Analyst here at Guidebook. I'm based in our Raleigh, North Carolina office. Thanks for having me, Tweety.
Thank you. Okay, so let's quickly go over today's agenda. The webinar will be broken down into 3 separate sections. In the first part, Jack and I will discuss the importance of event sponsors, as well as go over the elements your sponsor packages should include to attract event sponsors. Second, Gulnar will demo a new feature, Custom List Contact, which your sponsors can use in order to drive more engagement from your attendees, benefiting both them and the event attendees. And then at the very end, we'll close out this webinar with the Q&A section, like Jack said. Again, if at any point you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat and we'll address the questions at the very end of the presentation. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get straight into it. Signing on event sponsors is a great way to offset the costs associated with organizing an event. In fact, for many events, sponsorships are the difference between an event resulting in a loss or bringing in revenue. So when thinking about sponsorship opportunities, start by asking the most important question: what's in it for your sponsors? Your sponsors need to understand and see value in what you're offering. Otherwise, they may opt out of participating. So when planning your sponsorship packages, think about their goals for the events they attend. Make it interesting so they'll be excited to participate. Explain to your potential sponsors exactly why this event is a great match to their company, why sponsorship is a unique chance not to be missed, and crucially, what incredible outcomes will come about through sponsorship of the event. Events are tricky and already a ton of work, so make sure to present your sponsorship packages in a way that's easy for your potential sponsors to understand. In other words, just make it very clear what you're offering so they know what you're looking for and what they'll receive in return.
A common way to present sponsorship options is in a tiered chart, similar to the one that you can see on the screen now. This gives you the opportunity to give a range of benefits and sponsorship investment levels and highlight the benefits each sponsorship package provides. On the following slides, we have some examples of common opportunities offered at conferences. So an exhibition, booth spaces, offering businesses the opportunity to create an exhibition space or booth. With this, you'll want to be sure to incorporate the exhibition into your overall program to give attendees the chance to interact with your exhibitors. Demos or presentations. For large events, you may want to enable sponsors to host mini sessions or demos right from their booth. Offer this as a sponsorship opportunity and time each mini session, so there's only one going on at any given time. Content. So speaker sessions give your sponsors the opportunity to present to attendees. With this, you should vet the content to ensure that it aligns with your overall event theme. You can have guest blogs and social posts, so enabling your sponsors to begin engaging with your audience before the event begins. Offer sponsors the opportunity to create content that will be blasted across your social platforms. Inclusion in marketing materials. So typically when a sponsor signs on to an event, organizers and their logo add their logo to a sponsorship logo reel on the event site, app, and on-site branding. Technology. So mobile app sponsorship. This coveted opportunity travels with each attendee who uses the event app. They're checking the app for session information to connect with other attendees and to navigate to the event. So offering app sponsorship gives direct digital ways to interact with your attendees. Interactive walls. Thinking about adding interactive technology like a social media wall to your event, then offset your costs by offering it as a sponsored activation. The charging lounge. When attendees are low on battery and want to kick up their feet for a few minutes, a sponsored charging station will be a welcoming and appreciated destination for attendees. And then for fun, at the end of your event, you may want to have a happy hour. After our events present a great sponsorship opportunity. Sign up for a happy hour, dinner, or celebration, or celebrate your sponsors to cover the cost of ancillary events. Coffee breaks. Branded coffee or snack stations can bring your sponsors and attendees closer throughout the day. Enable your sponsors to spark conversation and energize your attendees. Also, lastly, something like morning yoga. Invite attendees to start off the day with a clear mind with the help of your yoga class sponsor. Yoga, a morning walk, or other wellness activities can encourage a happy, healthy atmosphere. With a platform like Guidebook, you'll be able to provide more value to your sponsors with a mobile app. With the latest in mobile technology, it's possible to deliver quantifiable value to organizations sponsoring your event. Today, more attendees are downloading event apps. In fact, according to Event Manager blog, attendee app adoption is around 80% when it's offered. All of this makes mobile a great platform to position your sponsors during your event. The clear benefit to your sponsors is having their brand in practically every hand at your conference.
Thanks, Jack. So in addition to the contracted items, there are also bonus benefits for sponsoring an event. So when you're building a proposal, you may also want to make note of the qualitative benefits your sponsors will see. So what additional benefits could they possibly see? Examples include media and social media coverage. If media or press are slated to attend, sponsors may see online or offline coverage. And then in addition to that, attendees also often document their experience at events. There's also positive association with your business or organization. And then lastly, networking opportunities beyond exhibiting. So while you may not have a quantifiable number for these, make note of them. It's important to highlight all of the reasons to sponsor and just of the opportunities available. And then don't forget, all of the work you do this year for your sponsors also benefits you for the next year. In building your case, showing past year sponsors provides credibility. An important aspect of this proposal is to illustrate how businesses will benefit from involvement, and what better way than to provide concrete evidence. A section highlighting past partnerships and sponsors speaks to your event's credibility and value. Here are some examples of how you can use last year's sponsor information to help you build this year's sponsorship opportunities. The first, include a collage of past sponsors. Logos go a long way in providing social proof and credibility. 2, use real feedback from previous sponsors. You should also just in general get in the habit of conducting sponsor surveys following each event. The information in your surveys can work to improve your next event and can be powerful in attracting sponsors. So for example, let's say sponsors from last year's event saw a 70% uptick in business in the days following your event. That's a huge deal. Share those figures with prospective sponsors to demonstrate value. And then also utilize your survey data in your proposal. While you don't need to include all of the feedback that you've received, highlighting a few strong points can go a long way. And you can point out strong numbers that support your goals. So for example, you can turn sponsor survey data into compelling statistics such as our sponsors got 20% more leads, or the event provides positive ROI, and then put a percentage there. Or sponsors say that they plan to sponsor again in 2022. And then the last one is feedback and quotes. You should feature sponsors who speak to their experience in their own words and can tell an authentic story. And so in addition to facts and figures, a qualitative look at past sponsors' experiences tells a well-rounded story and makes it more compelling for people to then become sponsors in following years. So these are some of the sponsorship ideas to get your wheels turning as you plan your next event. And that's it on my end. And we'll go over to Golnar now for a demo on our new custom list contact feature that you can use.
Hey everyone, it's Golnar here. Thanks for the opportunity to join y'all for Guidebook today. So We have discussed a number of kind of components to build sponsorship packages. And I want to spend some time now highlighting our custom list contact feature. So with this feature, you can boost engagement between sponsors and attendees. And your sponsors will be able to generate better prospect lists and see immediate returns from being a sponsor for your event. So as the name of the feature implies, you can set up a contact button on a custom list item, and the button will generate an email to the recipient of your choosing. So I'm going to break that down piece by piece here. So on my screen, we're first going to take the role of the event organizer. So many of you on this call, you may be familiar with the builder interface. This is the content management system. So I've created a sponsors custom list in my guide. And in this list, we see each sponsor's page, each sponsor's custom list item. Let's scroll on down to the guidebook list item. There's a new field here called contact email, and I put an email address in here. This is the person who will be the designated recipient for any emails related to this page in the platform. So I could click through and show you, this contact email form appears on each list item. So for Guidebook, I've put my email in there. Let's switch gears a little bit and just see how that looks in the app. So from the perspective of an end user or one of your event attendees, maybe they're browsing the booths in the exhibit hall, or maybe they saw a sponsor logo on some print or digital signage, or maybe they heard about a sponsor during a session. On my mobile device, I can pull up this sponsors list. I can scroll down to the Guidebook page. And here we see this new contact button. When I tap this button, because I'm already logged in, some of my profile details will already be filled in. So my first and last name and my email already came in. I can choose to provide some more details here. And then there's a space to fill out a message. So let me type in a good message. See if my keyboard pops up here. And in our example, this is going to a sponsor rep. But of course, y'all can set up custom lists however you'd like and put whatever email address you want here. It's really hard to type and talk at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to, as an attendee, use this contact form to try to get a hold of a Guidebook rep. And just to reflect on that action there, as an attendee, that was super easy, super fast, very low effort to engage with sponsors. So you can imagine how quick and easy it would be for me to go one by one and send messages to other folks. I didn't have to get up super early for morning yoga. I didn't have to elbow my way through a crowded booth. I was able to quickly and easily send a message to the sponsor rep and let them know whatever I want them to know about me. So a lot more effective than dropping off my business card and waiting days or even weeks to have a follow-up conversation. All right, let's switch gears one more time. Now I'm thinking as the sponsor rep, the person who received that email. In my inbox, we can see the message from the end user. Here's the message I typed. And we also have, let me zoom in here for y'all. We also have some contextual details. So I know which guide this is coming from, and I know which list item this message is coming from. So again, thinking about this from the sponsor rep's point of view, the custom list contact feature allows me to connect with more people more quickly. I can have multiple conversations going on via email. I can identify great leads to follow up with right away. Maybe I'll prioritize meeting with those prospects, and maybe I'll email other people back a little bit later. And because that contact form gives me more info than a business card or a passing conversation at the coffee station, I can make more meaningful and lucrative connections. So it's an efficient way for me to connect with attendees wherever they may be. So just to wrap up this segment here, I wanted to reiterate that in addition to the sponsorship packages that you create, these channels for communication, like the custom list contact feature, can really propel sponsor attendee engagement to the next level and drive wins for you and for your partners. Thanks so much for the time, y'all. Connor, I will hand it over to you for questions.
Great, thanks for that, Kolnar. Cool. So yeah, we're gonna get started on the Q&A portion. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop those questions in the chat, and we will go through them one by one. Jack will be helping me during this portion. So we'll get started. First question. So are universities allowed to sell sponsorships within Guidebook?
Yeah, absolutely. Any of our clients can sell any types of sponsorship, and we massively encourage you to do so. Universities will sell products. They'll also use the sponsorship opportunities to highlight things that are going on during the school year. So you can use the banner ads to highlight big sporting events, graduations, if they need to, students need to buy tickets for a certain thing. And of course, if you do have sponsorship partners, you can highlight them through the app. There's absolutely no restriction on our side as to what you do within Guidebook, of course, within reason. But yeah, there's no kind of legislation or pullback from us. So if you have ideas, I would encourage you to speak to your account manager about those sponsorship opportunities, and they can coach you through getting the most return on investment from the way that you display them in the app.
Great. And then any ideas for building sponsorship opportunities for a closed event? So some examples, there already are suppliers with not a ton of opportunity to increase customer base.
Yeah, this one, I'm not 100% sure completely what you mean here. But what I would say is that if you have partners already and they're not technically buying more exposure through the app, then it's a nice add-on for them. You still want to keep your partners happy with the exposure that they're getting. And if you have certain partners that have purchased a slightly higher level, there's ways that you can highlight sponsors in different ways in the app. So you could have your title sponsor. They could be included in your homepage of the app. They could be included on your branding. They could then have a specific menu item just for them. And then as you go down the tiers, you can give less exposure. So maybe banner ads are an add-on. Just having a normal list item in a custom list is kind of like your most basic sponsor add-on. There are sponsorship opportunities in the interact feed, for example, and they can be preset. So you could sell an amount of those to a certain sponsor, or in this case, you could just give some away to your kind of highlighted one. If I haven't answered that question perfectly, you please follow up in the chat, and I can kind of go again.
Yeah, and Jack, they did send a follow-up message to that.
Okay, great.
What they mean is, so with existing partners paying to be sponsors, what elements in Guidebook can highlight them?
Yeah, I hope I answered that. Sorry. So basically, custom lists are very good ways. You can pin custom list items to the menu to make a one-tap menu item, which basically would have a sponsor right in the menu for you. You can, as I said, you can showcase them in maybe your homepage or the info page, and you can use those notifications or social feed posts. Plenty of ways to do that. We do have sponsorship documents, and your account manager should be able to help you with those.
All right. Is there a way to see how many attendees connect with sponsors through Guidebook?
Yeah, this is a great question. So there are ways on this. So for example, with your banner ads, you'll see the amount of times that it has been seen. So we call those impressions. So the amount of times that a banner has been seen will count in the metrics section. So then you can share that. That also counts for if it's clicked. So each banner ad can have a URL tied to it, and that opens an iframe of a website, which then obviously can be chosen by the sponsor, and you'll see the amount of times that's clicked. The same goes for a custom list item and user posts. If they link to someone, you won't necessarily see that if that's in the connect feature, because that is kept private in terms of like who's connected, but you'll see the amount of clicks and things like that on the custom list items and the banners.
Cool. All right, jumping into the next question. So what other sponsorship opportunities does Guidebook provide other than the feature that Golnar demoed?
I mean, I kind of think I've gone through those. So let me just list them out again for you. So a splash screen on a branded app can show a sponsor, and that's a pretty effective way. You know, every time the app is open, especially the first time, it shows a sponsorship logo. You can have sponsored sessions. So if you're you know, a host or a sponsor wants to show themselves in a session, you can do that. You can then link like a PDF, their website, or indeed even their sponsorship page in the app to that session. You can have a custom list, as I've mentioned, with a list of sponsors, and you can show that in a thumbnail view, which means that you're like showing their logo nice and big within the app. So that's a great visual way to show them. The banner ads, the sponsored posts on the Interact feed, and sponsored notifications, which you can use, but I'd always use with caution, because of course the users can turn the notifications off. So if they feel like they're just being spammed with lots of sponsorship, they may turn them off. Just make sure that the notifications bring value to them. If you're going to use the sponsored notifications as well.
Okay. So this is a question we had. So one of the issues we had in selling banner ads is they are fairly small and easy to disregard. Is there a way to do larger ads, and or is there a way to have pop-up ads a certain number of times during the event?
Yeah, so for this, I would mention, again, the sponsored post in the Interact feed. I understand that the banner ads are fairly small. What you can do in that case is have a fewer amount of your banner ads so that they cycle through quicker. That means that obviously each one gets more exposure. For the larger ads in the Interact feed, they are fairly big, so they will take up a lot of the screen when they're on the Interact feed. And you can control them, you can preset them, and they'll come out, and they, in my opinion, they look pretty good. You know, they're showing off a big logo, and obviously you can have a post there as well. So I would always suggest using those. You have a logo, message, and a link to the website.
Perfect. And then yeah, we'll jump over to Golnar here, so she can do a quick little demo on all what we were describing.
Great.
Thanks, Connor. Thanks, Jack. And thank you all for the great questions coming in through chat. So just to tie back, you tie these things together. So we have the visual component. Here in Builder, I have an Interact feed as my top menu item. And this is where sponsored posts are set up. And you can have as many as you want. You can have a small logo, big logo, link to a website. Yep, so this is like a bigger than a banner ad, show up on the social feed to get people's attention there. In your schedule for the kind of like session descriptions, you can drop in a note sponsored by so-and-so, and you can also link to the sponsored page to give the visibility there. The logo will show up inside the schedule on sponsored sessions. We've talked about the custom list. So just like I showed y'all earlier, you can have a list of sponsors here, each of them with logo, description. You can have content in here, including like links to websites, links to PDFs, to have more engaging content beyond just the text on a page. Then we've also touched on banner ads. So here in the bottom left corner of the screen, I have the option to add banner ads. For each of these, you have the option to add text or have it just go straight to a URL when it's tapped. I also wanted to highlight that you can set the duration for these banner ads before they rotate. So if you have a higher tier partner, maybe it shows up for longer before it goes to the next banner, whereas somebody who may be a supporting partner or maybe a lower tier sponsor, they have a shorter viewing window for their banner ads. We also touched on notifications. So in the notification composer, I'll hop over there. This is also a great way to express your gratitude, give your sponsor some recognition, and this will, it could be a push notification that pops up on people's devices, even if they're not actively using the app. really, really great way to give recognition, have that visibility there, and also draw people back in, to engage with your sponsors, engage with your content, and, kind of get back into the event. So thanks again for the questions, y'all. I will hand it back over to Connor.
Awesome. Thank you, Golnar. So now just jumping back to Jack. Is there a way to do video chats through this platform?
Yeah, great question. We do have a Zoom integration that will allow you to meet with and chat over video with your end users. So that's a plugin, and you can literally do it on Guidebook Web, a two-way video. If you're streaming, then it's we open up to a lot more different streaming platforms like YouTube Live, Vimeo. Those can be used through the mobile, so you can just play the video on your mobile device, or of course also on Guidebook Web. So yeah, that's kind of the answer to that one.
Great, thank you. So sponsors have the capability to customize aspects of Guidebook. We have used Guidebook for several years with our university event. Participants have thoroughly enjoyed Guidebook.
Well, great to hear that your participants are enjoying Guidebook. Only admins will be able to customize the sponsorship options within the app and the guides. What you can do is ask your event organizers to create a list of options that they'll offer for certain sponsorship tiers. The higher the sponsorship level, the more visibility they can have in the app. We do also have, and this is slightly more in the weeds, but we do have a collaborator option where you can invite someone to edit one feature or one sort of post in the app. That means that they can kind of edit say it's their list item and it's about their company. They can edit the content, they then submit it to yourselves, and then the organizer would then publish the change. If you have a question about that, please either ask support@guidebook.com or go to your account manager for more information.
Perfect. And we have a question about this in regards to the splash page. So they're asking if it's a new feature. They have not been told about it before.
Yeah, so I mentioned the splash screen. So if you have a branded app, you can edit your splash screen, of course, as part of the branding dashboard. If you use either Spaces or just the premium guide in the Guidebook app, you don't have a splash screen, so the guide doesn't have its own splash screen. What I mean is, like, literally when you open an app, it has a full screen opening page, which we call the splash screen. So if you have branded, you can edit that, and then what a lot of events will do is they'll kind of put the name of their app and then the title sponsor on there, just for more exposure.
Got it. Okay. Question specifically about a use case. So one of the attendees is wondering if this would be good for a golf tournament, possibly.
That's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it depends on what you're going to try and do. Guidebook can be used for any type of event. That's almost the beauty of our platform. There's so many different ways that you can use it. We've seen, from weddings and small parties up to, conferences with 100,000 people. So if you were trying to share lists about information about the course, information about the surrounding area, tea times, you could absolutely do that through Guidebook.
Awesome. Let's see now. A couple more questions coming in, it looks like. So can notifications be scheduled in advance?
Yes, absolutely. You can schedule as many notifications as you need. They can obviously, so you don't need to sit there at 9 a.m. on the first day and click send. You can just schedule them to go when you need. And you can choose groups, certain attendees. Obviously, they can go to everyone or attendees of a certain session. So yeah, absolutely, you can preset those.
Awesome. Let's see here. Just waiting on a couple more to come in. Let's see. Okay, here's one. So if I want to run a contest for attendees to connect with sponsors through Guidebook, is there a way to measure which attendee makes most connections?
Yeah, we do have a user engagement report, which can measure which attendees have been the most social, but we don't really run contests. That is something I get asked quite a lot, but we think that by doing that, you can devalue those connections because people will just do it to kind of win a contest rather than actually create a valuable lead for your sponsorship partners. There are different ways that you can encourage users to connect with your exhibitors or attend your booths in person. For example, using a QR code scavenger hunt game. So we don't measure in terms of like creating a contest, but we do have suggestions on ways that you can kind of achieve the same results in the app. But yeah, we don't really measure in terms of like user engagement contests.
Right. Perfect. And then how does reporting look like to give the sponsors to show them the value?
Yeah, so we report in a metrics dashboard. We have 3 sections in there. The first is all about your guide downloads and engagement. The second is to do with your menu insights, and the third is to do with networking. So in there, you'll see lots of beautiful looking graphs. You can change your date range, and you can really dive into the menu. You can also export everything in there into an Excel sheet or a CSV, and then you can analyze in any way you want to. So that's a way of getting the raw data. And then if you want to, create your own graphs, charts, and things like that, you can. But if not, we kind of have our own purpose-built ones in the metrics section.
Got it. Okay. So we have one more question. Is there an instruction PDF that we could provide to sponsors that will help them understand how to customize or interact with Guidebook? Something we could provide to sponsors pre-event?
Yeah, so based on the features you choose to incorporate in your guide, your account manager can help you, educate your sponsor partners on maximizing the engagement from your platform. We do have some resources on our support website, which is easily support.guidebook.com. And of course, if you do, have an account manager, please ask them as well. They might also be able to provide you with some collateral on what we have and how it can look. We definitely have some PDFs and things like that. So I'd encourage you to either go to the support website, ask your account manager, and you should be able to get resources from those.
Okay, great. And it looks like one more question did come in. There are separate listings for sponsors and exhibitors within the app still, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can create as many custom lists as you need, and then you can name them as such. So sponsors list, exhibitor list, bars around the event. You can have anything you want in there. It can be completely custom, and you can move things around, add things in as you go. So that's all completely up to you, and there's no limit on any of the list items, which are built to show exhibitors, show attendees, show all your list items.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, yeah, that's all the questions we have for today. So thank you for joining us this GuideTalk, and thank you to our presenters, Tweeby, Jack, and Golnar. Sponsorships are a vital component within events. Thanks for tuning into this discussion on using Guidebook to bring value to sponsors. We'll be sending out a replay and sponsorship resources following this session. Thanks again for joining us.